Hey guys, well, it's been interesting. That's for sure. The traffic problem right there around in the neighborhood I live, stupid. It's like no excuse for it. And I've seen more traffic out there today in that neighborhood than there's any right to be. There's just no damned excuse other than there's a high school football at every high school in the area, maybe, and at the college, and there's a convention. You know what I'm saying? Lots of out of state plates. Saw a few out here where I'm staying: Texas, Tennessee, Florida, all kinds of places. Michigan the other day. Lots and lots of traffic. Incredible amounts of traffic for what would amount to being nothing but a hillbilly podunk, hole in the wall mountain town. You know what I'm saying? And not to denigrate the place really, because this hometown where I grew up used to be a pretty darn nice place. But they've been working on cutting down as many trees as I guess they could. But then they started destroying it back in the late 70s, I guess. A lot of ridiculous excuses to cut down huge trees and blanket a gigantic, nice little park, with cement instead of grass. And of course, no one uses these damn places anymore because there's no shade and it's unpleasant. So I was getting into the area and wading through all the traffic. And as I was turning onto the drive that would lead me back and around, and it was highway into the danger zone. I'm like, am I flying that high? Or I was trying to get higher than the danger zone. And then I realized as I was pulling into the drive, this is the danger zone. That's right. And I went in there and I went back to the other side trailer and did a couple things, got a few things. And it was too much time there, truthfully. But I came to get the cardiac and take her shopping because, she had to get some things and that kind of stuff. And so we did that. And the one of the supervillains has that one guy, YNA guy was saying, was trailing after us. Oh, not happy. But managed to smile at me at some point, and I thought, you slime bag. But it's somebody, who wants to claim something that's not theirs, never was, and never could be. That's what the problem is. The same poisoner that would beam noxious waves at people, but yet call them a relation or something like that. In other words, they have no idea what love is, none whatsoever. None. It's obvious. They know what want is. They know what they like to want, which is to be having rights to and or, ownership of, but that's not love, not in the slightest. Last night, they were piled in next door. Many of the exact same attacks were occurring, intrusions, invasions. And so, we took the time to make a prayer about that. And sure enough, it, abated. And we're just going to continue up. And whatever they do to, harm us or get us down, heaven will just use it to lift us higher and make us go further and increase us while they're decreased and lose and we win. Yay! Heaven, amen, in the name of the Prince of Peace. Last night, we did feel a little bit better for a while. I tried to have some sugar water. I got a pop that was, it just seemed so intense. I managed to drink maybe half of it. But it was that was it. I mean, I had a couple sips of it this morning. I was like, dear God, I just can't, you know? And today I thought, well, I'll get me some unsweetened tea. That'll be something other than water. And I got me some Pure Leaf, and I saw where it said 0 sugar, but I didn't notice where it said sweetened. And it don't matter if it had sugar in it or not. It was ungodly sweet. The sweetness was so intense to me. I was like, well, I just wasted that $2 or $3, whatever it was. And so that was trash. And so I thought, well, since I'm going back and forth and all this, I'll get me some of this bottled water, you know, something in an actual glass, because you don't want bottles of water just hanging around in your hot car for a few days. It's not what you'd call safe, if you know anything about BPAs and that stuff there. But so I didn't really pay attention to it, and I probably haven't had it in a long time, 20 or 30 years. And I got that, and I tried it out a little bit later. And, yeah, it came in a nice little green bottle, and it was, you know, a fancy little deal, I guess, compared to everything else. And it was sparkling water, and I hated it. Well, I can't say I hated it, but I was like, ugh. What have they done to it? But I know it's to make it special. So that was sort of a waste. I guess we'll keep those around for emergencies or something like that. I stopped in at a place asking about a product, and the young girl that was answering, big smile, hazel eyes, and she was reminding me of a lily, I thought. But her eyes are different. Seems like we got everything worked out so the house will be something we can move into soon. And, but of course we're still camping basically. I stopped at one little place. Speaking of Lily again, but anyway, I stopped at this one little place. It's one of those cheap deals, and it should be a heck of a lot cheaper, because the nasty, filthy little foreign monkey that answered the window was just a piece of garbage. One of those people I'd look at and go, no, you don't belong in America. You should never have been allowed in. How did you pass the psychological exam, and why wasn't there a psychological exam? Since psychology is so big, you know. But he was some kind of a weird-ass rager of some sort. Again, some little brown nasty. And I managed to offend him, I guess, because here I am, I got my ID, I got my card, but he's saying, oh, you got to give us a $25 deposit in cash. I'm like, okay, so I get a deposit on that deposit. And he started barking like, you know, a rabid animal or something, and was tossing my cards back to me, and he's like, nobody asked for a deposit or nobody asked for a receipt on deposit. Everyone gets their deposit back. And I'm like, oh, all right. But he's like, no, I'm not. Like, that's one business that will fail. That guy's never going to do well in America. Not anybody nasty raging like that. He'll never be able to do anything at all. Or at least that's just what I'm guessing. That's my what I would believe would be an educated guess. I'm not actually saying that's what the deal is, but yeah, he don't deserve any success, that's for sure. So I was driving around, and finally got to this place. I mean, it was storming. I was like tired of driving in rain, and kind of tired because we went in pretty fresh down at the house. And before I left, I thought, well, let me visit with her for a few minutes. And I made the mistake of going in there and actually sitting down on the bed. She told me a little story, you know, about how she'd been doing with her oxygen and everything, and how sometimes it gets to be a little bit much because sometimes she'll be doing stuff without it. So she's trying to improve and build up her resilience or stamina. And she proceeded to tell me how sometimes whenever she's done a little bit too much, she's not on her oxygen, that her pain will she'll begin to get a pain in her back, It was about that time I started to receive a pain in my back. And it stuck with me for quite a while. I prayed about it, and I'm sure it's going. The little monster guy who, the one with the black soul and black heart and all that, trying all day, I guess, to follow us around from here to there, and again and again, trying to reestablish some kind of contact here when we don't know him. He's not my family. He's just something black, And I don't mean Negro either. It's a pretty sad deal. But you'll love this story. Remember the Truman Show, right? So I get out of here because I'm looking for the vending machines. And on 2 floors, it's like, no, it's out of order. Yeah, okay, right. And so I gave up, and I thought, well, I'll just go get me a unsweetened iced tea from Wendy's. And, I like Wendy's because they always have good service, good food, it's quality, at least that's been my experience. And I pulled around through the drive-thru, and there was a black vehicle at the window. Lots of black vehicles recently, and lots of temporary tags too. And so anyway, there was one at the window, one sitting at the microphone where you order, and nothing was moving. All I have is 2 vehicles in front of me, and it's as though, well, I guess they're just not going to take this second customer's order, which is pretty darn strange. And I worked in a restaurant, and I've known lots of people worked in a restaurant work, and there is a standard to meet. It wasn't being met, and the weirdo that would not take the right of way and turn in front of me followed me there and got into the line behind me from 4 or 5 blocks off. And I thought, well, you know what? I just gave up on walking in because whenever I pulled in, there must have been like, 15, 20 cars in the lot. Easy. The place was full. I thought, wow, I've never seen Wendy's that popular, right? And of course, I went through the drive-thru, and I sat there for a couple of minutes, and I was like, okay, it's not moving. They're not taking the second order. All right, I'm going to go somewhere where somebody's working. So I drove out to the hill looking for the McDonald's, which was gone. As far as I know, it's just gone. That's how much business they did. And it's being replaced by, one of those Taco Hells, which you can't really see anything. I like those too. So I drove up there to the hill, and we're talking, I'm coming back in, I've left Wendy's and come back in 10 minutes. No more than that, I'm sure. And the entire parking lot's empty. All of them they're gone. That was all it was. Those people were all there. I guess all came in at the same time, all ordered at the same time, all ate their food at the same time, and all decided to leave at the same time. Because there was only like 1 or 2 cars left. But guess who was there? That's right. One of those that just looks like them, another version of them. And I went over got some, paid for the tea and everything. Went around, and I never operated their machines before. And I'm walking around going, I don't know how this works. Asking some ladies to show me how it worked, and they were real sweet and nice. And there were a lot of nice ones out there, it seemed today. A couple that stood out really, really strong. Whenever I was in the lobby, there was a lady that come walking around through there, and she had them blue eyes, And she was carrying a lot of weight. And I'm thinking, well, I wonder who it was for, right? And she just seemed just as nice as day, anything. And they were talking about the breakfast tomorrow. And apparently they put on a little bit of a spread. There's eggs and this and that. And and they were talking about biscuits and gravy. And I was like, oh my gosh. And she was saying, it's good too. And But I guess I'm not ready to break my fast, you know, because maybe I had 7,500 calories and 150 calories in a couple of days, something like that. It's low. Today we're basically having no calories, except for this unsweetened iced tea, which, well, of course, that doesn't have anything in it. So we're mostly just on water now. It seems like there's some good people around. There's some good guys I've come across. Just feels like they are that. And I came walking out of here to go park the car, and there's a big, SUV sitting out there beside my car, pointing the other direction. And again, some of those kind of eyes, those eyes that kind of light up, they're blue, and they smiled. It was a very pretty smile, and I smiled back as well as I can smile, and I'm wondering, should I just stop any of them? They're smiling nice like that. Who are you? What's the? Because I've got to the point. It's like, well, you never get any answers from anybody, and they're all playing characters, and no one has a name, and it's like, this is why we're at where we're at, because people have been trying to play games with me. But I don't know how to play. I don't know how to win. So I've got to move on. We were moving up. We were doing well. And I think what was happening was we started getting hard to connect with for some of them. And that's why they turned on the "we hate you" radiation beams or whatever it was. Which that's about as evil as anything can get, And I mean, how could anyone in that house say, well, we love you, if we're killing you, right? Because we love you so much, we'd rather kill you than let you continue ascending and get out of our reach. I can't say that's love, especially when it's better for me to continue up and go to someplace safer where I'm closer to God, closer to the light, higher. So we felt pretty good, and then we got assaulted by something there. It's a strange story to think it, and so we won't do that again. But we're feeling better. But yeah, the Wendy's incident, that was spectacular. I mean, that was a whole bunch of cars in there, whole bunch. And for all those people just suddenly clear out in 10 minutes. What do you think the chances are? Ever since I heard the German being talked the other day in the room next door, all I can think of is one specific guy. He was in a Tom Cruise movie. And he seems to be somebody that people kind of follow around and listen to. I can see that the devil has done everything he could to transfer the wealth of the northern countries and America and all that to the third world nations, which were put in the third world for a reason. And it's because of the spirit that's with them. But, I was looking at the propaganda broadcasting system earlier, and I just don't see how these things can be allowed. I don't see how it can be allowed on commercial television. Why would a government, any government, I don't care, free speech is free speech, and people are allowed to say whatever they want. And you certainly can write it and print it, but that really never was for broadcasting to the American public or any other country that had free speech laws. You don't allow a foreign entity to move into your country and then begin broadcasting to your public what they should think and not give any balanced reporting, but just slant everything to, yeah, Trump's a bad guy and his policies suck now too. So we got something to talk about other than we just hate him. And communism's good, although we don't call it that. We're going to call it socialism, but it's still communism. And we're trying to bring in lots of Muslims because that most definitely is juxtaposed to all that is American culture. It's the enemy of every culture it enters into. Any country it goes into, they're the enemy. They're not there to make friends and become part of the nation. No, not at all. They're there to bilk you, the public, for all your welfare dollars. Now tell me, they said over there in Europe, right? Oh, we're doing this because we're not replacing people fast enough. Well, are any of those people from the Middle East working anywhere? Not really, are they? But they are sucking off the tit of the government, taking all the monies and wealth that used to be that country's. In other words, it really is a browning of the places. Why else would all this go on? You know, everything that they've said is just stupid excuses. Oh, they're refugees. No, they're not. Not refugees from anything other than a bad situation in a bad part of the world where they were born correctly, born there. And no, I couldn't say I'm a racist, but boy, I believe that a country should preserve its cultural heritage, which is, you know, what made this country into what it was, the culture. So now I'm just getting off on a rant. We'll leave that for some other time. I did notice a lot of people were carrying weight. And it seemed like lots and lots more were carrying weight than before. I'm thinking, I haven't eaten in like a week. Why would I, you know? It's like I should be seeing something different, shouldn't I? I saw a couple of people smoking. And I was like, I know I haven't smoked anything for a long, long time. So it's sort of puzzling to me that those things are still happening. I saw several ladies that looked like they were working for the cause, but very, very unhappy, very sad. And I'm wondering if it isn't because of that wizard that they're connected to, that they're dependent upon. And I can understand that. People get into situations where one of these kinds of people step in and say, I can take care of that for you. But it's not a brother of love type of thing. It's not lean on me when you're not strong. Don't lean on me, please, for any reason. But, you know, that's a brother type of thing where it's like you're part of us. You're part of our team that has a heart and loves and cares and, you know, more of like a white-oriented group, Christian. But of course, there's no bounds to love. We all know that. It's just that some of it is just nothing but noxious. It's a poisonous thing. They'll pretend love. They'll act like love. They'll smile like love. But when it comes right down to it, no, it's all about what they can get out of you, how they can profit. Can I take care of that, but then damn your soul a little bit? You know, share the load, right? No, I don't. No. I can't. I've had too much load for too long. We need that season to end like it's been promised. And I've seen indicators that it is, and I'm happy about it. So again, guys, for all of you that are for us and are helping, I pray heaven loves you for me. So long as, of course, you're not helping any of the bad people, you're not opening doors between any of us and the enemies, as defined many times. But you see, that is the problem, I think, for too many people, is guilt by association. Damned because of the company they keep. Doors shut because, oh, you hang out with those people. You might open the door even accidentally to them, and we can't do that. Okay, so to sum it up, not the best day, not the worst day. Would have been better off with not, having empathy and compassion and that, I wouldn't have received this stuff that got on us, which I've been told it'll go. And he is going to. And it's an eventuality. And again, it's like there's no reason to be angry. It's just what it is. And we were supposed to leave. We were never supposed to be connected to any of those people anyway. I know that I've never seen any type of anger management from them. I would recommend high potency weed. It's the best thing for people who suffer from anger problems, as far as I can tell, because it's easy to obtain and it's very effective. It mellows them out. They can be raging, going off, talking about, oh, there's 3 blades of grass that wasn't cut on the lawn. And you give them a joint and let them smoke half of it, and they're like, I'm ready for some pizza. Let's order pizza, which is a heck of a lot better for them and everyone else around them. But again, I hope there was something in this that you might have used or was encouraged by. I'm encouraged by some of the smiles I see, some of the faces I've seen. I've noticed, there seems to be a ridiculous amount of hazel eyes. And my sister is in motion as she says it. These others, these 2 ladies I saw downstairs, the one in the lobby tell me about how the breakfast was good, and then the one just outside the door in the Subaru seemed to have very similar eyes, very similar, and both very nice smiles. And I just wonder, well, how do you do that? How do you identify them as an ally rather than, just another snake in the grass who knows how to put it on? How do you get past all this whenever all you've known is snakes and gators and crocodiles and dragons and, all that stuff? How do you do it? Pray for me, guys. Thank you so very much. Again, I say heaven love all those that are helping us and loving us so that we're functional and we're doing well and healing and getting better. That are not our enemies and are not helping any of our enemies to get connected to us. Amen. In the name of Prince Jesus. Prince Jesus, the Prince of Peace. Wouldn't he be like the Prince of Light, the King of Light, maybe? Because he's all light without any darkness in him, isn't he? Hey, that's the one to go for, don't you think? Well, again, God love you guys. Thanks for your prayers. Thanks for your well-wishing, your love. And we'll talk again to you soon.